Stand by for action.
Thanks for joining me now. My name is Dave Milner. I am the Unpleasant Blind Guy.
Let's rock.
Okay, quick show note. Usually I put out these shows on Thursday. Things have changed around a little bit, so I'm putting them out now on Tuesday mostly. If you are on Twitter, all you have to do is follow UBG Contact, and you will find out when the latest shows are coming out. Okay, so you will know what's going on, even if I don't happen to right at the moment. Okay, so let's get into it, shall we? First item on the agenda is a Breitbart article talking about a speech made by Bill Clinton. Headline: Clinton, Israel must make peace or disappear. All right, now this article is dated 17 June. Now, I don't know where this speech was given or anything of that nature, and I haven't been able to corroborate this article by getting it into finding another source. But I'm going with this article anyway because, first of all, it comes from Breitbart News, so that means it's probably reliable. And second of all, this is very plausible coming from Bill Clinton. That's who made the speech, not Slick Hilly, Slick Willie. This is a blast to the past. All right. Now, this is a short Breitbart article, so I'm going to go ahead and read it, and you will do a little bit of commentary on it as needs to be done. Okay. In a speech that will no doubt incentivize Palestinians to continue their campaign of terror and warfare against Israel, former President Bill Clinton told Israel that it would have to make peace with the Palestinians if it wanted to remain Jewish and democratic. He said that thanks to demographic changes, Israel will have to separate from the Palestinian population in order to maintain its majority. Now, I find that very interesting. They'll have to separate from the Palestinians. What that means, in reality, people, is that the leftists want Israel to shrink down, again, to its pre-1967 borders. This is something that Obama has been bugging Israel to do. They want them to shrink down to those borders and give up all of that land that they're not going to have anymore to the quote-unquote Palestinians. Now, to finish this article, this theory has been proved false repeatedly. Israel's demographic majority in Israel, whatever the heck that means, yeah, nice writing, guys, will remain strong for decades upon decades. But the goal of the left is to create pressure on Israel, the party willing to come to the negotiating table while doing nothing whatsoever with regard to the Palestinians. In point of fact, all that Clinton's speech will do is ensure that Palestinians do not come to the table. After all, if Israel will be destroyed unless it capitulates, what is the incentive for the Palestinians to deal? Now, that's the Breitbart article, and I tend to give it its due, because this is something that we've seen the left continuing on doing for years now. Quite frankly, it started with former President Jimmy Carter and his anti-Semitic remarks, and Republican establishment people have also gotten into this, strengthening people who have been giving Arab terrorists money. You know, I mean, the establishment has been rolling with this meme for a long time, and all this is Bill Clinton basically giving the same spiel as President Obama, but in a different form. See, guys, this is something you have to understand. The mind masters of the left are going to deliver their message in many different forms. This is so that their puppets can argue these messages from many different angles. They can say, well, this has to be done because blah. And, oh, by the way, there also is blah. That's another reason to do this. Okay, it's nothing more than the same old message. Israel has to give up the territory that it won in the 1967 war. Never mind all the Israelis that died or anything of that nature. No, I'm saying all this to not only people on the right, but people on the left. My show is for everybody. Now, if you're on the left, okay, I want you to look at this. If you're a fan of Israel, if you're a fan of the Jewish people, if you want to see a free and independent Israel, if you want to see that continue, then I want you to look at this, and I want you to talk to the people in your leftist organizations and tell them that you do not want them sponsoring the Muslim Brotherhood, Al-Qaeda, or any of these other organizations that are bent on destroying Israel. Because guaranteed, they're also bent on destroying the United States of America and its people. Now, this is not racism, guys. All right? I don't give a damn what color someone is. If they say, follow my religion, or I'm going to cut your head off, I don't care what color they are or where they come from. They are evil, and they are the enemy. Now, you guys on the left, you're going to have to come to terms with this. It's not racist to call someone who's evil, evil. Now, for people on the right, if you still have some hope for the Republican Party, now's the time to continue pressure on them to make sure that they keep supporting Israel. Because if they don't, then a prediction I made in 2010 is going to come true. And sadly, I think it may come true anyway. I said in 2010 that I hope that Israel gets its children out because I see the surrounding Arabs destroying Israel, wiping out the Jewish state, and then I see President Obama wringing his hands, talking about how this is unacceptable, launching many diplomatic protests, and then turning on to his latest agenda item to destroy the United States of America, or basically turn it into a third world country. I don't want that prediction to come to pass, and I hope it doesn't. And it won't if enough people in time turn around and tell this administration and tell its partners on the phony right, meaning the leaders of the Republican Party, no, do not do this. Support Israel. Support the thing that we helped set up in 1948, because it's the right thing to do. It's the good thing to do. It's the moral thing to do. Moving on. If you guys listen to this show, you know that I don't move in the same circles as the big bugs. They talk about all of the issues of the day, all of the immediate issues that are in everyone's face, and they do a very good job of offering conservative counterpoints to the establishment onslaught on us that is going on every day. So, when you tune into this show, even though you're not tuning in, you're going to get the odd subject that you haven't heard about too much or haven't heard about at all on some of the other talk shows. And I'm going to get into one of those now. This is off of an article that I just happened on through Yahoo News. What a joke. And it's entitled, NASA's Grand Challenge, Stop Asteroids from Destroying Earth. Now, what NASA has done is they've asked people for suggestions on how to keep asteroids from hitting the Earth and possibly destroying all of civilization. Now, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. And let me just say, before you guys click me off and say, well, I don't want to hear about all this space junk, You need to understand something. Conservatives talk about reality, and this is in-your-face reality. If something happens to the Earth, we're done as a species. There aren't going to be any Republicans, aren't going to be any Democrats, aren't going to be any progressives, aren't going to be any Tea Party movement members. Nothing is going to matter at all because humanity will be gone. Okay? Asteroids aren't the only thing that could destroy this one and only home that humanity has. There are all kinds of natural disasters. There are diseases, supervolcanoes, all sorts of other things that could occur that could make our life as a species on this planet disappear. And right now, the only thing that there is that would show that humanity ever existed are the Voyager probes. That's it. That's all that would ever exist of everything that we have ever done. Now, what I want you guys to do is think about the best book you ever read. Think about the greatest song you ever heard. Think about the philosopher whom you have followed your whole life and believed in. Think about all of the things that humankind has accomplished before now. Think of all of the greatness, all of the struggle, all of that which is the sum total of human achievement. And then think about it being gone. We not only have to protect ourselves, we have to develop self-sustaining presences in space, and they have to be permanent. Now, the last thing I want to hear anyone say is, well, I think we should spend the money better on projects right here on Earth. I've been hearing that crap for over 40 years, and that's exactly what it is. Crap. It's the statement of people who are either short-sighted or who are politicians who want to fill their pockets now at the possible expense of the erasure of the human species. I'm sick of it. We need to start doing something about this now and committing more money to it. Now, I don't want to hear that this is a bad time to do that. Folks, I'm going to share one little secret with you that really shouldn't be a secret, especially my friends on the right. There's never ever been a good time for making the extra expenditures on manned space. There's never ever been a good time. There's never ever going to be a good time. There's always going to be someplace else for the money to go. The thing that we have to decide is, are we going to roll the dice on the possible extinction of mankind, or are we going to do something? Is this going to be the first known species on planet Earth that will be destroyed because of its stupidity, or not? And I say that people on the right, people on the left, all of us need to make sure that we talk to NASA and the government and say that steps backward in technology like this new space capsule and rocket system are not acceptable. We need vehicles that can take off from the Earth like an airliner, go into space, do what they need to do, and then return to Earth and land like an airliner. We can make a vast improvements on the space shuttle concept now. We know so much more than we did in the 1970s. And it's time to do something about it. And it's time, as I said, to create long-term, permanent, self-sustaining presences in space and keep them there. And oh, by the way, you want a suggestion on how to protect us from asteroids? All right, here's a good one. Create spacecraft that use engines to nudge the asteroids out of the way. This seems to be the accepted scientific means of dealing with asteroids at this point. And if The asteroids are too big for these spacecraft to use these engines to push the asteroids out of the way. You know what you do? You make them modular. You create a core where a crew can live and work, and then you create a system where you can put on as many engines as will be necessary to use to push an asteroid out of the way. If you need to, create more than one of these spacecraft. Put them in orbit, man them permanently, and that will resolve your asteroid problem. Now, the article that got me started on this subject is actually from space.com, and this was stuff that NASA wanted to do in preparation for a hearing of the House Space Subcommittee, which was on the 19th of this month. And I'm going to include in my uploads to UBG Contact on the Twitter an article from spacepolicyonline.com titled House Hearing Shows Opposition to Asteroid Mission, Divisions on Draft Bill. There are people who still want to do a few things in space, and they are in both parties. But almost none of these things have anything to do with A, protecting humanity, and B, the ultimate protection of humanity, which is getting us off of Earth in a self-sustaining and permanent way. Getting segments of our population off of Earth. This is something we need to do. Yes, I know this is unusual for a conservative commentator's program, but hey, that's how I roll. Sorry if you don't like it, but I'm the unpleasant blind guy. Now, let's get down with our Awesome American for this week. This has its genesis in a Boston Globe article from their Metro section, dated the 20th of this month. And I want to caution people, as I do upload these things, I want them to know, the people to know, that when they do open this article, there's going to be rather a nasty advertisement that's going to pop up from the bottom. And the way to at least squanch it down so that you can have a look at the article is to left-click on the green script that's in the middle of the stupid thing. Right at the top, it says get full access to bostonglobe.com. Just click on that, and that should push the stupid ad down a little bit. You guys know my feelings about these kinds of ads in these websites where we want these stories and we want to share them. It's annoying. I won't go through it again at the moment. But Awesome American this week is a fella named Robert Wheeler. All right, this is a kid who just graduated from college, and he was recognized at that graduation because he had just finished running the Boston Marathon, and of course that's when the explosion happened. And instead of running away or whatever, he immediately went and assisted a man with first aid. This is a pretty fantastic thing. I have to say that if I had just finished running a marathon, if I wasn't dead, I'd probably just be laying down on the ground exhausted. But this kid didn't do that. He actually went to the aid of this individual and helped him out. And Robert Wheeler and the man that he assisted have become fast friends and good friends. They contact each other almost every day now. And again, this is the kind of thing that we do as Americans. Even when we're dead dog tired. And yeah, I'm talking about after running a marathon here, people. Even then, we will go and assist our fellow Americans when they need it. It's the kind of neighborliness that exists in every part of this country, and it's one of the many things that makes me very proud to be an American. Okay. Now, by the way, that Boston Globe article is going to kind of have a title that fools you, because it's going to say graduation ceremonies marked by joy, solemnity. And then underneath it, the subhead is Framingham State addressed by Senator Warren. Now, for the people on the right, don't let that put you off, because the article appears to be about Pocahontas, but actually Jeremy Wheeler, or Robert Wheeler, is mentioned in this article, and it does talk about his heroic act. So don't let that put you off. Go ahead and read the article, even though it's supposedly about Pocahontas. Alrighty. Now, before I take off, I want to give a special shout out to some new friends that I've found on in a Blog Talk Radio chat room, and it is known as the Bacon Zone. And these are all people who put out some very good conservative programs. These again are citizen commentators and citizen journalists. These are people who you can learn a lot from. And my alter ego is going to be posting that. If you know who that alter ego is on the Twitter, I'm going to be posting out all that stuff, sharing these things. But what you can look for is things like the Conservative Watchtower. That's one program, and there are several others. All of these great hosts meet in this place called the Bacon Zone. Fantastic patriots, and I'm happy to be in their company, even though I don't do business on Blog Talk Radio. Okay. Want to thank all of you for listening to this show. It's been a little bit of a polyglot, because I had to redo the show because I had a noisemaker going, which annoyed me, and then I was annoyed even more because as I was doing my show, a wildcat thunderstorm came up and blew out the power. So a lot of weirdness has been going on, but we've brought this horse into the barn, and now we're going to curry it, feed it, water it, and make it comfortable. And I hope you guys out there all find something in it that you can use. And I want to thank you, as always, for listening. Hope everyone has a great week. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Thank you, and may your God go with you. Bye-bye.